All right, so here we are in part three with the attitude and what it looks like with leadership, with personal development, with what it actually could be for you in actually all areas of your life. It doesn't have to necessarily be at your work, it can be within your actual group of selected friends. So, my name is Joseph Gantar with Gantar Enterprise. So we're just going to get to this. We got a lot to cover. Hopefully, we can actually make it all work. If not, don't worry. There's always next week. So here we go. So, how to change your attitude. So, many people suffer from a hardened attitude, okay? And life situations, experiences that didn't go their way, unfortunately, are the root causes. So, why do we have the certain lens that we do? It is literally because of the life experiences that we've had, and they've brought us into where we're going. We cannot actually take things and say, okay, we're going to shift them up, we're going to make it work, we're going to make it go. And we got a very clean ideology on how we're pursuing things. That's not going to happen. It never will. It never has. It's literally operating out of the lens or the life experiences that we currently have on. If our lens or the view or the perspective of what we're looking for is actually unfortunately tainted, or if it is actually compromised, our sense of judgment is going to be compromised. We're not going to actually be able to see a full understanding of the situation, scenario, or circumstance. Okay, so that's why many people suffer from a hardened attitude. It's because of their previous life experiences up to that point where they currently are in their life. Okay, so thinking that they were right all along from the lens that was impaired in the first place. This actually tails off from the last point. I kind of went into a little bit of detail. However, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on this. The reason being is because if you think that your lens is impaired at first, remember you can always actually clean it. And how could this be? Well, here's the thing. If you are going to pursue certain things in life, one of them is better quality of life. You have to understand that you have to be able to see where you're at. So, why would this lens be impaired in the first place? How did I even get here? What's going on? I need help. That's the first foundational thing on your attitude. Okay. So, now we're going to go to the next one. And it's like, okay, so if we're going to identify 6 stages of attitude change, first you have to identify the problem feelings. Okay, so what does this all entail? This is the earliest stage of awareness and the easiest to recognize. Okay, so if you notice that you're doing something, you're not getting to where you're going to be, and you're like, okay, why is this happening to me? How did I get here? Okay, where's your feeling stemming from? What is actually causing you to feel or embrace that experience in the way that you are right at that moment? And then you're going to be able to identify the problem behavior. What are the triggers of my wrong feelings? Write them down, experience that in a format that you can actually go back and reflect upon when you're not necessarily away from the emotion, but when you're actually able to distance yourself from the emotional connection of that problem behavior. Okay, so when you're identifying problem thinking, basically what you're wanting to think about is what will determine your actions. What does this mean? Your feelings are going to determine your behavior. Your behavior is going to determine your thinking. And you're thinking, well, how does this actually correspond with everything? Well, here's the thing. It's all in transition points. Okay, so if you're feeling a certain way and then you're also thinking it, and then you're going to behavior is actually going to line up to that, you have to be able to understand what is actually going on in this whole spectrum of this situation. So where's your feelings lining up from your previous experiences of life up to this point? How are these problems actually being interpreted, and where's my thinking in all of this? Okay, so that's where this is all coming from, because the most is what will determine your actions is your thinking. Okay, that is essential. So this illustration or this picture here is thinking or trying to show you, okay, I might be stuck, but there's optimism. There is an optimistic approach to all of everything that I'm faced with. So 6 stages of attitude and change continued on into part number 4. Okay, so identify the right thinking. Write it down with the desired outcome. What is it actually going to take for you to actually say, this is my desired outcome? I wrote everything down when I was feeling a certain way. I acknowledged where those feelings stemmed from my thinking. And then I also was able to evaluate the behavior patterns within that situation. So first off, it was the feeling, the thinking, and the behavior. But now you're looking at, okay, so how do I identify the right thinking? Well, again, you got to process it all, write it all down. What does that actual desired outcome actually come out to be? Well, your feelings are stemmed from your thoughts. Control your thoughts, you control your feelings. So if you are able to, again, see things from a different perspective. And what is that different perspective? Being away from it emotionally. Emotions can taint or really skew your perspective in so many different ways. It's not even funny. It would literally change some people's lives if they could just remove the emotion from what is happening. Okay, so make a public commitment to right thinking. Making a public commitment becomes a powerful commitment. You want to know why? You want to know why I do what I do? It's because it's for myself, personal accountability to you. Every single Sunday night, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern time, and I'm not even in any of those time zones, I'm here doing this. Why? Because I see the value in a few different ways. One, I'm actually able to implement certain things in a different manner of understanding by explaining it this way for my own well-being as well. It could help someone else. Okay, so here we go to the next one. So the 6 stages of attitude change. And here's the biggest one. This is like the catalyst of it all. This is the 6th and final stage. So develop a plan of right thinking. Well, what does that all entail? This plan should have these things considered to be a part of your process of understanding where your attitude actually was. I'm going to try and line this up here. Was. And that this is where I wanted to be. So how did I get from here to here? You got to write the definition of the desired right thinking, a way to measure the progress, a daily measuring progress, a person who you are accountable to, and a daily plan of self-improvement resources. Carefully evaluate who you are associating with. Mindset is everything. In previous sessions that we've had through these Sunday night lives, if you want to call them that, or shows, if your thoughts become actions and your actions become habits and your habits become your character is going to determine your destiny. Okay? If you're able to skew all of that back, and where is your thinking, and you're able to remove the emotional attachment to this type of thinking, you are going to be able to put yourself in a position of at a very elite level of critical thinking. 98% of people make decisions emotionally. 2% of them make them logically and analytically. You take 98% of the population, they have 2% of the wealth. You take 2% of the population, and they have 98% of the wealth. Is it by accident? I just revealed it to you. No, it's not by accident. It is literally by your mindset. Things are really shifting and calibrating and adjusting and moving in many different directions. So this is basically what's going to happen. If you're able to assess things from a point of removing the emotion and the feelings of things, and to really try and assess, how did we become into this predicament or this problem in this situation, then to actually evaluate what I just explained on how to actually write it all down, correlate it all together, and make it so you actually have something of substance where you can actually execute it, you're going to be in a very different place in a very short amount of time because of the technologies and resources that are available to us in today's day and age. It's literally the best time in mankind to be alive. We have the greatest opposition, we have the greatest opportunities, and it all comes down to mindset, attitude, and action. And that's it. So, with that all being said, believe it or not, we're going to tie this all in together next week for part 4 of this whole attitude series. So, next Sunday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, work hard, stay humble, and let's do this.